when it comes to having a partner, for people who could be talking to entrepreneurs, creatives, and that partner says, babe, I think that God is telling me and calling me to quit my job because I have a gift, I have this business, I've been working on it on the side, but now it feels like I have to choose and I'm gonna go with the business. What does a woman feel in that moment, and what advice would you have for people who's currently going through that transition phase?
So for me, I'm an Aries.
Good people, what's up, what's good? As you guys see, I have no guest today. I have the wonderful Syd right beside me, the legend, my girlfriend Syd. Recently, Syd, she's been killing it. She's extremely humble, and I know she's not gonna tell you all what she's been doing, but Syd has launched her own editing business. She's been servicing her new clientele with creators, people who are podcasters. Even if you have a business, anything that needs content and that needs a direction, needs it edited, she is the woman for you, for your business, for your brand. She's already gotten multiple clients. She's been killing it. I'm so proud of her. And Milli Productions is something that's real now. Exactly. And with June, who's been crazy. Like June has been like in a whole nother bag, and seeing what she's been doing and just seeing how everybody as a collective has just been killing it all together. It's just crazy to see. And another aspect of Milli Productions and the podcast, the production company itself, is me and Syd's relationship, because we actually do this thing together. So this is a business, and we've monetized what we're truly gifted at, and especially Syd as well. She's been killing it.
You too.
Thank you. But today we wanted to basically talk to all of you, and I want to stop saying you guys because it's girls who tune in. I'm starting to learn, like, guys, that's kind of exclusive, so be more inclusive. That everybody needs talks. Everybody needs someone to relate to sit down to. And from our last episode, I saw the great interaction and the reaction that we saw from so many people.
Yes, and we appreciate that.
Right.
Like, that is huge. And you guys know, Caleb knows, like, I'm never comfortable on camera. So seeing the warm and positive reaction, it only makes me want to get on camera a little bit more. So I appreciate that personally, and we appreciate it as a unit as well.
Most definitely. And I tell Syd, like, she has so much wisdom, she has so much knowledge. Like, everything that you guys see with, I said you guys, but everything that you all see with the podcast, with the production value, the company itself, the website, everything, the colors, the overall aesthetic is all Syd, all June. And what makes this experience so dope is it's two women of color who are killing it, and who are providing value and bringing our vision to life in real time. And as you all will see with the recent episodes that we'll have dropping soon, it's crazy. Like, the production is just getting better and better and better. So that's been dope. But before we even got to that point, as a couple, we had to sit down and create and understand, what will this production company be? What will this vision be? And how are we going to change not only our lives, but people who look like us and our whole entire generation's lives when it comes to film, because it's one of the biggest industries. But for all that being said, I guess that the framing topic will be how to support your partner who is a creative, a entrepreneur, content creator, somebody who's doing something that's untraditional, right? But that can be very lucrative, and that can be something that can create generational wealth. But I'll let Syd take the floor first, though, because how do you feel about, like, the topic itself, right? About,
I love the topic. Because I feel like there's no other topic, and I'm sorry, you guys, I'm a little hoarse, but I feel like
Syd been talking all week,
so I'm a little hoarse, but I feel like it's a topic that is very relevant to where we are right now in life, so it's a little easier for us to talk about. We got this topic, honestly, from watching the Ellises. Is that what they call
I love them, though.
Yes.
I love them. They're dope.
So shout out to them.
Yes. Kev on stage.
Yes,
he and his wife as well.
Yes, so we were watching a couple other couples because we were just like, let's get a couple ideas what we want to talk about next, something genuine that we really can talk about. So they were talking about, they labeled it being with a dreamer.
Yeah, that's deep.
And it's crazy because in their relationship, their dynamic, it was, either their husband was the dreamer and their wife was that strong person who's, a realist, or, vice versa. But with us, we're both dreamers. We both hated the situations that we were in with our jobs. We hated the fact that we felt like we were working so hard. We went to college, we tried to do it the right way, couldn't find jobs. Then we find jobs and they're halfway paying us, not paying us for what we're worth. We're begging for time off. We're balancing 3 Milli and my editing business and Caleb's consulting business, trying to have a production company while also trying to put our all into our jobs. Because we try to pride ourselves on being hard workers wherever we go. We never want to be that person that's seen as lazy or seems as if they don't care. So we strive to do our best, but at the end of the day, like my dad always says, you can't put 100% into everything. You can't. You're gonna pour yourself empty, just like we were watching that TD Jakes sermon, and he was saying, basically, each one teach one.
Yeah. Each
generation, your path in life is pouring a little bit of yourself into each person that you interact with. And at the end of the day, once your cup is empty, that's your time. So he was just saying, of course, be cautious of who you pour yourself into, but don't hold back from who you pour yourself into as well. So that goes on into a whole other subject, but definitely this plays a role into our relationship, especially with us being so young. We didn't have like that in between time. We literally graduated, moved home, moved out, and here we are. It was like no in between time to get to know ourselves, no in between time to save, because we could have done that. We could have slowed down, we could have stayed home, but for the things that we want to accomplish,
it's impossible.
It's impossible. You need all the time that you can get. We've been going at this not even a year yet, and it feels like we've been doing it for 10 years, but we love every moment of it. But we have to do it. I mean, we want to have these things. We have goals and lists that we have to accomplish before marriage, before kids, and time's ticking. So we're working towards having that foundation, not just for us, but for generations to come. We feel like it's our responsibility. We were literally sitting and talking the other night watching that LeBron, his son. Yeah. That documentary.
I forgot the name of it, but it was dope.
Something I can't think of. Top Class. That's what it was. And I was telling Caleb, I'm watching it and I'm like, these kids have a different opportunity. Like
experiences too.
Oh my God. Like their life compared to, and we got top of the top education for Georgia, Fayette County education, Fayette County public schools. And we didn't have half of these experiences. I was telling Caleb, like, that's what I feel like me and him are here for both of our families. Our families on both sides are born and raised Atlanta. Not many people in our family have branched out. We have families scattered around, but the majority of our family is just here in Atlanta with no aspirations to leave. And I told Caleb, I'm like, we don't want our family to end here. Years and years and years of our family ending here. We need to branch out. We need to provide that opportunity for our children. And honestly, we kind of butted heads on that because Caleb, with him having the experience of being an athlete and having to be in those situations of choosing school and work and being exhausted, he's one that's protective and doesn't really want his children to have to go through that. But I say all that to say, there are going to be times where you disagree. And we have had to figure that out in the matter of 6 months, how to disagree, because at the end of the day, we're both so passionate about our business and we're passionate about our roles in our business. And sometimes our roles cross and we have to work together. And he has one idea and I have one idea and those ideas are clashing, so we've had to figure out, okay, well, we're going to take a piece of your idea and a piece of my idea, and it can look so beautiful if you both compromise. I've gone on a tangent.
Nah, man, that is perfect. And shout out to my mentor, Dr. Jacob English, for the shirt Owning My Journey, because that is real. Like, supporting by the merch. 4 Chambers. Top quality.
Put it right here. Definitely.
But like, own your journey and embrace that path. And I think that when you are somebody who is a content creator, if you're somebody who is an up-and-coming entrepreneur, you are somebody that thinks outside of the box, right? And naturally. And especially for our age group, what happens is after we graduate from school, and you probably busted your butt all throughout school. That's probably why you're even watching this video. And after graduation, you're super excited. And it's like, man, I'm about to go kill it in my industry. And then when you go out, it's like, all right, you're only paying what, $12 an hour, $13, and you want for me to film, you want for me to interview this person, you want for me to edit it. That's 3 different people's jobs.
For one salary.
And I'm not gonna say names, but you know, I was in those talks, right? Yeah. And I had to bet on myself and say, I'm worth way more than that, because you have to be not cocky, but so freaking confident in your abilities that you know that nobody can do what you do, period. And when you go and when somebody offers you that, yes, we all have to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as a business person, you have to realize where you're getting gypped. And what happens so often is people take advantage of our youth, and they'll say, well, you're young, you're just not getting started. No. I'm not just not getting started. If you look at my resume, if you look at my media kit, if you look at my website, my digital portfolio, you'll see that in college, you can say, hey, I was working with these brands. That was the point of me interning. That was the point of me having these on-campus jobs or internships, or these on-campus scholarships or on-campus fellowships, was so this counts as full-time job experience. And no, I'm not saying that you won't go in working entry-level probably, but at the same time, why not demand more? Why not put in that work? Because that's why you worked and got that degree, right? That's why you had put in those sleepless nights. That's why you were filming and still working your part-time job throughout college. So you can go into those buildings and say, hey, I can start off at this. Because 9 times out of 10, especially in our field with media, those people that you see on camera, or those people who are calling the shots behind the camera, didn't even go to school for journalism.
Yeah.
So they can't use that argument about experience towards you, because it's all nepotism anyways. But see, it's a major shift that's currently happening right now, right? And Syd, she tells me about this all the time, but if you really take a step back, you'll see right now that it kind of makes more sense for you to bet on yourself right now and not work for these media companies. Reason why I say that, I'm not saying work for, but I'm saying partner with instead. So you actually, as the creative, provide the value. And Joe Budden, he's somebody who's been ahead of the curve on this 10 years ago, but you have to realize that your content is what brings that company life, not the other way around. And they need your ideas, they need your creativity. So when you go and when we're applying to these jobs, and if you aren't getting those jobs, don't make that feel like you aren't good enough. You are good enough.
Yeah.
And that could be God's way of showing you that you don't need them, because I had to go through that, man. Like, I was applying to over 40 places a week, just emailing, DMing people, sending out the interviews, like, and I remember me and Syd having, conversations where I would be so mad, and I'm saying, Syd, I'm better than this person. Like, you can clearly look, but what's meant to be will happen, will be. I always tell Caleb, that's something I plan on teaching generations to come. What's meant to be will come with ease. I'm not saying that it will be easy, but what God has meant to be for you, he's gonna guide and direct and open those doors. If you find yourself continuously hitting a brick wall and it feels like you're fighting against yourself, 9 times out of 10, that's not meant for you. That's somebody else's dream or something else that you've seen and picked up along the way. You have to pray, meditate, recenter, and refocus and figure out what's for you. 3 Milli hasn't been easy, but we haven't hit a brick wall, and people get so caught up. We were just talking to Levi about this over the weekend. People get so caught up in the followers and the numbers and the subscribers. There are people out there with 200 followers, 50 subscribers, making 6 figures a year. You don't know what there are people out here who have 100K followers making $0 off their social media, and they don't even know where to start. You have to leverage where you are. You have to nurture your audience. And I say that to, go back to the topic of, you have to nurture your relationship that same way. You have to put in the same confidence that Caleb was speaking about that you have to have in yourself. You have to have that in your relationship as well. If we didn't have the confidence in, at the end of the day, we can fuss, fight, argue, disagree, whatever. At the end of the day, Caleb and I both know that this is home. This is where we come back to. Business or not, we've got each other, and at the end of the day,
we don't put the business before we put ourselves. There's times where we're sitting on the couch, just like earlier today. We didn't start working till 5 p.m.
And we got so much done.
Because we had a long week, you know, and the first week of us doing this self-employed thing, we were working literally from 10 a.m. to, you know, 1 or 2 a.m. at night, you know, working overnight, putting in 13, 14, 15 hour days straight. Sometimes we look up and it'd be 10 hours and we haven't even had a sip of water. We haven't even had a piece of candy. I mean, nothing, you know, because we're just so absorbed. But we had to pause and we're like, okay, we're losing ourselves. We're losing us.
Yeah.
We're losing that bond, you know? So you have to dedicate those times, those moments. Today we were like, you know what? We're gonna have us some us time. We're gonna watch WandaVision. We're gonna finish the whole season. And we're gonna eat, you know, our favorite food and just relax, and we'll get to work tonight. And tonight, you know, it's like 8 o'clock right now. We're probably not gonna be done till 2 or 3 a.m. But at the end of the day, that's the trade-off, you know. We got to rest till 5. So you definitely have to figure out those balances. What do you think, babe?
Yeah, same exact thing. And then 2, I think that balance, it will never happen.
Yeah,
you can work towards it. Like, it's the same thing as, you know, trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, of course you'll never be perfect, but by you aiming for perfection itself, you're gonna fail, but fail at a very high level, which is always a beautiful thing, because throughout failing, it's constantly learning, right?
Yeah.
And I know as creatives and podcasters or content creators, entrepreneurs, your product, your business, your production company, your podcast, you're constantly thinking about it 24/7.
Yeah.
But reason being is because it's your gift. It's your gift. It's your gift from the ancestors, from God, from the universe, whoever, wherever. It is your gift. And when it is your gift, you are consumed with it, not because it's for you, but because it's for somebody else. Because your gift is meant to share with everyone around you, to empower them and to make them better, right? So understand that you can be obsessed. Like with a person like Kobe, right? You can be obsessed. Kobe, he was obsessed, but at the same time, it's about breaking time down. Like, create a schedule, a regimen. And Levi, man, when I was talking to my boy Levi Lawrence III, make sure that y'all follow him.
Him and his wife, Trey.
Yes.
Definitely.
Levi, he said something that was very, very deep. He said, the same energy that you use towards your business and your brand, use it towards your relationship and use it towards your partner. Because you have a high level of tenacity as a creative, as an entrepreneur. You're saying a big F you to the world.
Yeah. Because
you're saying, I believe in myself so much that I trust my abilities, that although I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm still working on my business at night. Or although I did work a 9 to 5, I'm gonna put in 9 to 5 plus 10 on myself every day. That is a risk. That is somebody who has to have some loose screws or craziness to them, but also a big amount of confidence. So apply that same energy towards your partner, because then your relationship is going to grow with the business. So then that way you aren't someone who has all the money in the world, but then you don't have anybody to share it with, or you don't share the experiences, right? When it comes to traveling, when it comes to going on vacations, right? Or you aren't just doing it with just random women or random people, but instead it's with a real partner. And if anything happens to you, you have somebody who can have your estate. Or if anything happens to you or to you and that partner, you have a legacy of children or a family, foundations that you truly built something together with. And I remember, you know, just watching stuff and inspirational videos, and I remember that one person said, I forgot their name, but if you look at human history, right, it's for billions of years, and especially Black history since the beginning of time. What is 75 years out of a billion? Nothing. Our lifespans are like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
A blink of an eye. But some of the most memorable people in human history only lived 30 to 40 years, 60 at most. Like King David in the Bible, right? Who people still talk about thousands of years later. I think he only lived to 60 years. Or Solomon, I think he only lived to 60 or 70 years max. But people are mentioning their names. Esther, like, we're talking about people who lived in a very short lifespan of probably 75 to 80 years, but you talk about them for ages. Ruth, like all these powerful women, for a short amount of time. And even if they lived to about 96 or even 100 years, what's that compared to a billion, right? So always think about every single day, how can I provide value to everyone around me? How can I give good game to all of my friends? And two, with my partner, how can we build something special together that we can pass down from generation to generation? Because the biggest thing is, especially as Black people, we have to change our mindset. And right now, our age group is changing the game. Yeah. Because we aren't saying, yo, I'm gonna go to this job and work there for 35 plus years and to be underpaid. And now I'm getting health problems from this job, from the stress levels. I'm getting heart disease, diabetes. And as Black people, you already know that we're already prone to that. And you work all those years, but you get replaced in 1 week. Like you never existed. And now, if you do retire, if you even have a 401k plan and Social Security, you only have 30 years max left of your life. Your prime is done. And now you already have children, grandchildren, so you're taking care of everybody else except for you. But the person who you worked for, they're traveling. Yeah. They aren't at work. You work for them, so you're building somebody else's dream, and you have so much talent. God did not create you just to be an employee and just to work for somebody, because you have too much to you. Why create a robot? So just have that in mind, but also that same mindset, use it towards your partner. Check on them. Ask, how are you feeling today? How is your mind? How are you feeling? And I remember Levi, we just interviewed Levi on Saturday, right?
Saturday, yeah.
He said, how is your spirit?
Yeah.
Ask your partner, how is your spirit feeling? How are you doing? Before we talk about the business, and I remember he said something powerful. Y'all working on business together is not bonding.
No.
It's not spending time.
No.
So
you have to put it away. Yeah. You have to, and that's something that's difficult for Caleb and I, but we're still figuring it out. We haven't perfected it, but we, like you said, we strive for perfection, definitely. What else do you think?
Yeah, and give yourself time. Give yourself time. You are not going to be perfect.
No.
And that's okay. You're gonna make mistakes.
But the person that you're with should love you through that imperfection. Like that should make you love them more, because like I was saying in the last video, vulnerability. Yeah. You have to be the true you, because the thing is, like, and that all goes back to self-love, because if you have that self-love, you're like, I don't care, if you don't love me for me, because I love me for me. Imperfections, flaws, all of it. I love me for me. And the person that you spend every day with, you spend the most time with your partner, should love you for you as well. That doesn't mean that there isn't room for you to grow and change and, thrive to be the best you. But at the end of the day, they should love you through that process. Yeah. The good, bad, the ugly, the good days, the dark days, they should love you through that process. Because again, like, you have to put your relationship before your business. Levi was telling us, it took them time to figure out that just because we're sitting right next to each other, on the laptop, working on the same project, like you were saying, that's not quality time. You need that time to just detox and just
watch your favorite show together.
Exactly.
It's fun. It's fun.
So fun.
And today is the perfect example. Like last week, we were grinding every single day. We started working out again. And then like this past weekend, we did 3 interviews in one day.
Yeah.
I think we recorded for like 5 hours straight, no break.
Shout out to June.
Shout out to, again, my girl June. And
5 hours.
That is another woman. Her and her beautiful wife are so dope. But June, she's on the grind 24/7. Like before our shoot, she was doing something else. Then earlier in the week, she was doing her sign business. Then she was working full time at Georgia State. So June is just everywhere. And me, her wife, all of us, like, we all have these talks about, hey, like, is June always working? Yeah, because June, she makes me mad because he's always working, and Caleb, he's always working. And what I'm starting to slowly learn, right, is that breathe. Yeah. Take your time and stop fighting that voice in your head. And what I mean by that is all the people who are very creative, right? When you're sitting down and it's like, all right, we should probably do this, right? And then we should flip that and then do this. And then when all these voices start talking and all these, creative juices start flowing, it's like you start getting fidgety, and then you start thinking, all right, it's time to get to work. But accept those thoughts, accept all those ideas, but say, I got y'all later, because I need to breathe first. Because what you really have to learn is that when you're burnt out, you aren't going to be as creative as what you can truly be at a very optimal level. Because when you start getting burnt out, you start rushing, you start overlooking things, you start just wanting to post something just because, but after you post it, you're going to have to create something else. So just take your time, and by you taking your time, you'll be able to sift through all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. So then when you actually come, you know, with a fresh mind, it's like, okay, I have a great idea. So take your time, be patient, and stop racing. Stop thinking that you aren't doing enough, because you are. You're doing more than enough. I promise you. When it comes to having a partner, for people who could be talking to entrepreneurs, creatives, and that partner says, babe, I think that God is telling me and calling me to quit my job because I have a gift, I have this business, I've been working on it on the side, but now it feels like I have to choose and I'm gonna go with the business. What does a woman feel in that moment, and what advice would you have for people who's currently going through that transition phase?
So for me, I'm an Aries, so I'm naturally like,
let's get it.
Let's go.
I get it.
You know, I've changed I changed my major like sophomore year. I was halfway through my program. I just changed my major. I transferred schools. I'm the type, I'll move an hour away. Like, that's just who I am naturally. So you guys don't know, like, there were times where Caleb would literally be asleep. He'd come home from work. You'd get home about 4 o'clock. Let's say he had a live interview at 6. So he gets home at 4, showers, sets up the equipment. That's maybe, now we're at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. Goes, sleeps for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I mean, the last 10 minutes, wakes up, splashes water on his face, you know, reads over the questions that he's written out and studied the week before, and then he's sitting down in front of the camera. And you guys see this happy, you know, go lucky, great energy Caleb, and it's like, as soon as the camera goes off, back tired, back to the room, back asleep. That was every Friday night, you know, every Saturday night. And then it was so repetitive, because it was like, he's working 5 days a week, sleeping the other 2 or 3. You know, it's like, it's just not fair to anybody to have to live that life. And then the other time where we're awake, we're working, you know. And at that time, I wasn't getting off work till 5. So there were times where
sometimes at 10.
And sometimes at 10.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, because that's when he was doing interviews. And sometimes I'd walk in the house in the middle of an interview, or you could hear me cooking in the background, because literally we had no choice. We had, between getting home, getting off work, showering, you know, we had a 4-hour span before it was time to be lights out again. So I told Caleb, I'm like, we are too young, you know, we are too smart, we're too determined to be giving these people our life at this capacity. You know, we worked hard to move out for a reason. We're not even seeing each other. You know, we're not even, and it's deeper than just for the relationship. We work together. You know, we can't get anything done with 3 milli apart. We have to be in the same room. We have to be able to bounce those ideas. I need to quickly let him see this, and he needs to quickly be able to tell me this. It was times where I was literally editing on my lunch break, and I'm texting him, sending him pictures. You know, at that time I was a teacher. I'm dealing with students, and I'm trying to edit on the side, and there's, you know, cameras in my classroom, and I'm trying to like turn the computer. I mean, it was just chaos, and we were miserable. So I say all that to say, I was praying for the day when he would be ready to go ahead and let that job go. And it was so crazy, because I had just had to, you know, leave my job. My job was not respecting COVID. They were changing our hours. I mean, it was just craziness going on. I had switched.
What, 12 to 10?
So what happened was, I wanted to come out of the classroom due to COVID. It was too many people at my school getting sick. So I joined a job. I'm not going to say their name, but it's a health communications job. My degree's in communication, so I was doing a work at home communications job. And it was fine at first. I loved it. The hours were great. And then all of a sudden, they switched my contract. I'm working for a company out of California. Now I'm working, you know, 4 or 5 hours later, 12 p.m. our time to 10 p.m. our time.
And y'all had meetings after.
Meetings afterwards.
So
to follow up, debrief for the next day's schedule. Then on top of that, you know, I'm getting they cut our lunch break in half, 30-minute lunch break. 15-minute breaks go to 10. I mean, it was just crazy. And I'm like, yes, this is good money, good benefits, whatever. But at the end of the day, how am I in hell in my home? I'm in my home. I can't even go to the restroom.
Yeah.
It would be easier for me to be in the office. I can't even go grab a granola bar, go get a sip of water. I mean, there were times where I'd be sitting there lightheaded, spinning, and I've got 3 laptops. I've got a desktop, I've got 2 laptops, I'm editing over here, I'm transferring, handling clients. I mean, it was too much, and we were trying our hardest to support each other through that, but at the end of the day, we had to choose for ourselves, for our household, and for our business. It was time.
It was time.
It was time.
It was time. Syd, just hearing you say all that, like,
it brings
put me
it
right
all back
in the moment, because I get it, y'all. It is scary.
It's terrifying.
I have conversations with so many dope creatives about, man, I'm working this job right now and it's trash. I want to quit. Y'all, I had a plan to quit my job at least by 2022. And how God works, man, He's going to accelerate that process and say, fully trust me, because at my job, I was working at my job from 6 to 3, Monday through Fridays, and I was busting my butt. I was there every single morning. I only missed 2 days in 6 or 7 months, and I was never late.
One of those days was because it was literally a tree that had fallen in front of our complex, and with you having to be at work at 6 a.m., nobody was up.
Yeah, and it was crazy too, because I remember at work, like all of my coworkers, you know, who were tuned into the podcast, they would always say, Caleb, like, how do you do all of this? Like, bro, we all work, and I'm seeing a YouTube video pop up live, or I'm seeing an IGTV clip right now, and I'm looking at you. And I would tell them, yo, like, if y'all have businesses, if y'all have these ideas, grind and understand that you will not let your job win. Understand that your job will not take your life. It will not take your dreams. Jobs are built, and not all jobs. Well, I'm talking about jobs, not careers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A career is something that will pay you what you're worth.
Exactly.
It is something that is a real profession. A job is something that is meant to drain you. It's something that is meant to break you down. And I remember putting in overtime, going into work at 4 a.m.
Over
going
the
in
holidays.
at 5, over the holidays.
It was
Black Friday, or just the week of holidays, or the months of October, November, December straight, going in at 4 or 5 a.m. And what happens is, from doing that, then interviewing people, doing the podcast and producing content, and then trying to figure things out, and me and Syd are bouncing off ideas, everything felt cloudy, because your main objective is just to get things done. It's no longer thinking of how you can step outside of the box or think outside of the box. It's no longer how I can reshape what content looks like, or what interviews look like, or what a podcast, or even what a production company looks like. Because our vision from day one, that's why on this channel it's called Milli Productions, is because this is a production company. This is a production. We want to provide you all with high volume and high quality content, and not just a podcast.
No.
A podcast is just one medium, but a production company is something that covers everything. That's why we have consultant servicing, editing servicing, paid interviews, paid IG live interviews, just so many different things.
And that's another thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was another conversation that me and you had to have regarding, like, with 3 million, how serious we were going to take this. We had to change our complete setup. I mean, it was funny over the weekend. Eric, the Dr. Dapper, we were setting up to film for them, and he looks, and as he sees, you know, we're all coming in, me, you, and June, and we're coming in, we made 1 load in, and then we're coming in with more equipment, and then by this time we've made 4 trips, and we've got, like, their whole living room covered of equipment, and they're like, are we doing a podcast? And yes, we're doing a podcast, but we're a production company. That's why we outfound June. You know, that's why Caleb and I were like, look, we've got to outsource. We've got to go bigger than what we can do for ourselves. We can do this little setup right here. Cute. But compared to what June can do, and the style and the swag that she brings to our show, and the way that she's teaching me. Professionalism. Wherever we go, wherever we have people, they're impressed. They're going to remember 3 Milli Podcasts. It's going to be the best podcast that you ever interview with. It's going to feel like you're getting interviewed by E! Tonight News, you know, and CNN News. You're going to have the cameras in your face. It's going to be hot. The lights. But at the end of the day, just like me and June always say, this man right here is going to make you feel so comfortable, and he knows his craft. I mean, you guys will see, he's made people cry on camera. He's made people, you know, reminisce on camera, remember things that they didn't even know. Made people build their confidence on camera, remember who they are. It comes from how he studies his craft. He research. It doesn't matter if he's interviewing somebody with 200 followers, 200,000 followers, 2 million followers. He gives them the same amount of attention, the same amount of effort, and the same amount of time that just shows your character. I just had to highlight him right there because
Syd,
it's huge.
she does the same exact thing. And,
Thank you.
You know, seeing Syd work with up-and-coming podcasters and creatives and enhance their aesthetics, their brands. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, if you aren't hiring Syd right now for your content, for your podcast, your brand, whatever, the price is gonna go up very, very soon. And I tell Syd this, I tell June this as well, but especially Syd because I'm with Syd every day, is that, and June too, especially, that y'all are changing people's lives. And I tell Syd that what she does, I do not take it for granted, because for so many years I went through experiences of, yo, like I have this idea, but I don't think it's being displayed properly. And you know, it would happen when I was younger, right? Of just going through college, at the school newspaper, you know, stuff like that. I loved it at the school newspaper, but I remember all the time, like me and all my friends at the newspaper, we'll be like, yo, if Georgia State gave us podcasting equipment, we would really be killing it. And y'all, we were killing it with all that we had. Yeah. But from seeing somebody like Syd, right, who's actually executing somebody's vision and dream, that's priceless, because you're like that mediator from the mind to actually seeing it on TV, seeing it on your tablet, on your device. And that's a very special role to have. And when you are in a relationship dynamic, right, and when y'all are bouncing off ideas, appreciate what each of you bring to the table, because you and your partner bring value. That's why y'all are together in the first place. So during those moments of creativity, just appreciate what's going on, because it's something that's truly God-given. And then two, for the people that's at the jobs right now, you'll know when it's time. And
you will.
For
God
me,
will not give you a choice.
For me, it was crazy, right? Because I didn't plan to leave my job in February. I planned to leave it by May or by September. But sometimes people at the job, well, not people, managers at the job sometimes will talk to you any type of way or treat you any type of way only because they know what you do. Like, it was crazy for me working, of people knowing what you do, but them seeing that you have a future and how your coworkers may look up to you and support you. A manager or managers or people in high places, they could be mad about that. Or they could see that and be like, that person has a very high trajectory and I simply don't like that because I'm still gonna be here. And you have to protect your spirit, because I know going into those jobs, when you know your worth, it is hard sometimes being talked to any type of way. It is hard sometimes doing craziness. I remember doing crazy projects like putting fans inside of ceilings and being on high ladders and just doing weird stuff every single day, and just asking God, why am I here? Why am I doing this? I am too talented to be in this environment. And it feels like you're going through like this fight with God, and it makes you feel so small. It makes you feel frustrated, and it makes you question life itself. And when you wake up in the mornings, it's like, can I keep doing this? There is no true answer to when it's time to quit.
No.
But I will say, prepare yourself financially, save your bread. We say, but of course it's still scary. It's still scary not knowing where the next dollar's coming from, but you know that it's gonna come. And the moment that Syd decided to quit her job, she got clients instantly. And I'm not saying that your path is gonna be like that, and we aren't where we wanna be at all. But what I am saying is that if you go out and if you take one step of faith, I promise you God, the ancestors and everything around you will give you 10 back. And understand that you have a gift, and the same tenacity. And I remember Syd's dad, he told us this, the same tenacity, the same discipline that you apply and use towards that job every single day that you hate. Imagine if you used it for yourself. And imagine if you applied that every single day towards what you have going on. And slowly phase yourself out of the job. Slowly. Just save up more, stack your bread more, and start outsourcing.
He talked us through this. You know, my dad, he's been an entrepreneur all my life, all his life. And he's had his ups, he's had his downs. I mean, the recession was very hard for my family. My dad was in real estate, but he talked us through this, you know, and he really talked to Caleb and I, you know, man to woman and man to man, and told us what it is. You know, he told us exactly what it is and what it's gonna be and what it's gonna take. And he's supporting us like no other, and your parents are supporting us as well. Both of our families are supporting us, my mom included, and it's awesome. You know, we're still at the beginning of this journey, but we're figuring it out. I mean, my testimony, like you were saying, I quit my job out of just craziness, you know, and I quit my job that day. God was just like, you know what, today's the day. I sent in my immediate resignation, and I've never done that. You know, I'm always the 2-week resignation. I work my 2 weeks. You know, I try to always fulfill my end of the deal, but with this situation, God was just like, no. You know, it's not, and it was crazy because the reason why I had to quit was because I had another opportunity that same day happening, and I asked my boss, hey, can I have my lunch break at this time for a client, a very big opportunity for me? And she said no. And I called Caleb. He was still at work. And I said, babe, this is the situation. What do I do? And he said, you got to choose. You're going to invest in your future, or you're going to invest in your present. And I sat there and I prayed and I meditated. I typed up my resignation. I sent it to Caleb. He proofread it, because you can't have no errors if you're going to be like that. You can't have no errors.
Register instead of, you'll say registration instead of resignation.
Exactly. And I sent it to Caleb, and I sent it to my boss. That was the end of it. But it was crazy because that same day, I made what I would have made in 2 weeks.
In one day.
In one day.
That's powerful, y'all. That's powerful. And think about that, right? Because Syd, man, she had to take a chance, right? And after Syd took her chance, I still went to work for what, like another month?
Yeah.
And I remember, like,
and no one knew. No one knew I had quit. Because we were like, we need to keep this between us. Because at that moment we were so fragile, you know, and we're like, you know, we just didn't want to hear it at the end. Like, and it was so weird for me and you to say that, because Caleb and I, we try to pride ourselves in listening. We try to pride ourselves in being the best student. We listen to our parents. We listen to our elders. We listen to our mentors. But in that moment, something was like, God was like surrounding us, and he was like, stay to yourselves. Because every time I would pick up the phone to call my dad, something would happen. I wouldn't be able to call him. Or I'd pick up the phone to call my mom, or you pick up the phone to call your parents, something would happen, we wouldn't be able to call them. And it was like, God was just like, keep this to yourselves right now. Meditate on it, pray on it. And that's what we were saying, the importance of your relationship and your household. We really had to come together at that time, because we both were like, we felt like we were just going, you know, aimlessly with no target, no goal. But at the end of the day, we felt that way because for once in our lives, we released control. And we were like, God, you have control. And sometimes in those moments, you feel like, what the hell is going on? But at the end of the day,
this is ghetto.
This is crazy. But God has to move you those ways. He has to maneuver your life to get you onto that path sometimes, and embrace that chaos. That's, you know, that's all I can say.
Yeah, and man, just accept it, right? Because I remember when she had quit, and when clients start coming in, and I told her, man, I'm so proud of you, and this is confirmation from God that you are on the right path. And then from seeing Syd, and this was, I guess, subconscious, like I didn't even mean for all this to happen, but just from being at work. And I remember just one day just staring, right? Just staring around, and I was thinking, and I said, Caleb, you know how much you make here. You know how much you're gonna make next month. You know how much you're gonna make the month after that. Nothing's gonna change. But what you don't know is what you can do if you fully trust God and do what you love to do, and do what you're gifted at doing with another person who's gifted at what they're doing, with another person in June who's gifted at what she's doing, all combined together at one time. And I thought about it. You know what it's gonna be. Yeah. You know what your future holds staying in your current position. But you also know what your future will be if you did what you loved every day and put the effort into it. You do know, it's just you don't know how you're gonna get there. And that's the scary part, is knowing or not knowing how you're gonna get there. And that's what holds so many people back from chasing their dreams, is because you know what you're fully capable of. You know what God has in store for you, but you don't know how you're gonna get there. And because I don't have the GPS, I'm not going. So instead, I'm gonna stay in this middle area, right, where it's not perfect, it sucks, but it's not hell. But I'm gonna just sit here because I'm comfortable knowing what type of slavery I'm in.
Yeah.
What type of bad situation I'm in. I'm comfortable knowing who my enemy is, but we're uncomfortable not knowing what's truly in store. And take a shot on yourself. If you have that job, just save up for the next 3 months. Give yourself 3 months, 90 days, even 2 months. Save those paychecks. Don't go out. Y'all, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for the months and even a year plus of me and Syd saying, nah, I'm not going out. Why? Why am I gonna spend drinks and I'm not gonna feel well the next day? Why am I gonna buy all these clothes? That's another thing, all the fellas out there. I know that we love getting fresh, but sacrifice on the clothes, sacrifice on the sneakers.
You got something to wear.
That's an extra $300 to $600 right there a month.
Yeah.
Cut back on going out to eat. And Syd, she'll tell you this. I never bought lunch not one day in 7 months of working. Reason being was because I was saving. Save your bread, be intentional. That's the biggest thing. Pack your lunches, save your money, just cut down.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be crazy things, but just cut down on the small things and it will add up. But trust God and know that by you believing and by you just having the faith of a mustard seed, I'm telling you, something big will happen. And trusting your abilities, because that job saw something in you, and that's how you got hired in the first place, and fired the job in the second place.
Definitely. Yeah. So with that being said, I guess we leave it at trust yourself and have that faith. Have that same faith and that same trust in your partner, and God will do the rest.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys watching.
Yes.
As always, follow us at our new usernames. I don't know if you guys noticed, but 3 Milli Syd and 3 Milli Caleb.
Most
and
definitely.
Of course, you can follow us at 3 Milli Podcast. We'll have everything. I'll do a little doo-doo-doo thing right there.
Yeah.
You can go follow us, and you can always book us for consultations regarding web design, editing, any type of podcasting, media, broadcasting, personality. But you can see all of that at www.3milliproductions.com. Again, that's www.3milliproductions.com. We'll see you guys there. Peace.